Which WWE brand has the best current champions? That is what we are here to figure out today. Welcome to Rebel Rewind. My name is Brandon, and today we are ranking all of the current WWE champions to decide which brand is crushing it.
Let's talk about it.
Hey, before we jump into this video, though, do me a quick favor. Scroll down below, hit that like button, and if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for our first 200 subscribers. We're doing a giveaway when we get there. I'll tell you more about that later. But for now, let's go ahead and jump in. So like I said, today we are going to rank all of the current reigning WWE champions and decide which brand has the best champions. Now, I asked this question a few days ago on my community page, and the overwhelming result was that Monday Night Raw had the best champions. And I thought, okay, that sure, maybe. And so then I started to look at a little more deeply, a little more thoroughly, and decide where I stood on that. And we'll see. I'll let you know here in a bit what my thoughts are, but we are going to rank them according to a scale that I just made up. And so throughout this video, I'd love for you to tell me in the comments whenever I put somebody on there. Let me know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think? Where do you think that they should go? And by the end of this thing, let's see if we can land on which brand has the best current champions. Now, of course, I am making this after Clash at the Castle, which means we do have new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions in the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. So we'll talk about all that as we head into it. Let's get started. First things first, though, you've got to know that I have a special category just for Kalani Jordan. The reason for this is, yes, she's a brand new champion, and you might say, well, so are Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, but Kalani is new in the sense that she is new to pro wrestling, and she's new to being a champion. She has no championship history. She has very little in ring history, and so I don't think it's really a fair scale to put her in any of these rankings. So our women's NXT North American champion, Kalani Jordan, is kind of in a category of her own right now called Kalani Jordan. The same argument might be made for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, but both of these women have been champions before. They've been NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, and Alba Fire was actually one of the longest reigning NXT champions of all time. She held the NXT Women's UK Championship for over 600 days. So they have some history that we can build off of. But for Kalani Jordan, she's kind of in her own category right now. We'll see how it goes. I've got high hopes for Kalani. I think she's going to do an incredible job carrying that title and really creating the culture that is the NXT Women's North American Championship. And I think that's the first time I've ever said the name of that title correctly. All right, let's start off by ranking our tag team champions. We will start, just because there's only one set, we will start with the women's tag team champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. And I am going to put them in this category that I've labeled still cooking. So for me, still cooking just sort of means that the championship run has started. There's some story being told. We're not too far into it where we're either like, this is incredible, or we're bored with it. It's just there. It's a title reign that is currently happening, and I believe that's where they land right now, in the still cooking, or for them specifically, the we've just started cooking, and we'll see where it goes. I'm curious to see what goes on with them as champions. I actually think that the WWE Women's Tag Team division is way more stacked than most people think, and I'm going to do a video on that soon. So be on the lookout for that one. Turn on your post notifications for when it comes out. But I do believe that they can push the women's tag team division forward, and I think Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are great champions to make that happen. But we'll have to see. We have no idea what's happening yet. Maybe we'll find out really, really soon. All right, moving on. Let's talk about our SmackDown, aka the WWE Tag Team Champions, A-Town Down Under. I'm going to put them in this category up here called Good Run. And the reason for that is when I say good run, I just mean that they're on a good run right now. I'm not bored of their run. I don't think it's over. I don't think that they're killing it either. I think that they're kind of stuck in this limbo right now of what is tag team wrestling in the WWE. They've been working to sort of sow seeds of dissension between the two and perhaps break up this team. I'm not a huge fan of that idea just yet. I would like to see them continue to be a team for a while and continue to utilize their abilities in the ring because they're both very good. Their heel work is very good to kind of build up some other teams. Let's get some other teams in the mix. Right now they're feuding with DIY, but I would like to see the tag team wrestling in general expanded, strengthened a little bit, but we'll have to see. But right now I think that A-Town Down Under is on a pretty good run, and I'd like to see that continue for a little bit longer. Now, on the other hand, on Monday Night Raw, we have the World Tag Team Champions, the Awesome Truth. And I've got to say, I'm in a position right now where I want it to be anybody but them. I'm tired of the Awesome Truth. I think that their run is kind of past the point of being funny anymore. I don't like the same comedy bits over and over. Some of the awkward humor, some of the awkward jokes that they tell from time to time. I don't love it. And, I liked R-Truth when he was hanging around with the Judgment Day a lot more than I do now that he is around The Miz. Sometimes it's funny, but other times it's just kind of go away heat. And so for me right now, I'd love to see somebody that's a legitimate competitor take that away, whether it is really the Final Testament. I'd love to see the Final Testament win those tag team championships, but there are a lot of teams out there that could use a good run, and I would love to see that happen. All right, the last set of tag team champions we have are our NXT tag team champions, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, and I believe that they are kind of still in that good run category. I enjoy their work. Now, obviously, they won the titles off of Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, who are a throw-together team that happened to work really, really well. And then they recently defended those titles against the OC successfully at Battleground. But I would like to see this run, now that it's more established and they've defeated some really solid teams. Now let's work in NXT and building up more teams. There's, just like Raw and SmackDown, there are other teams that I would like to see step up, including Gallus, including the family. There's teams out there that I think could be built up by having feuds with Nathan Frazier and Axiom, and could really reestablish good, solid tag team wrestling in NXT. So I'm going to say they're on a good run. I'm enjoying their work and want to see it continue for a little longer. All right, next up, let's go mid-card championships next. And we will start with the United States champion, Logan Paul, over on SmackDown. For me, I think for Logan Paul, I think I'm kind of over it. It's about time for a change. And for me, time for a change is not as bad as anyone but them. Right now I would like for Logan Paul to drop that belt, but I'm not in a rush. It's not like every time he comes on screen, I'm like, I hope somebody takes the title from him. But I do think it's time to build a good story, and maybe it's the story with LA Knight that's happening right now. It's time to build up a good story and then go ahead and drop that belt to the next challenger, basically, is what I'm looking for. Maybe that's LA Knight at SummerSlam or even Money in the Bank, and I would love that. All right, on the NXT side, we have Oba Femi as the Men's North American Champion. And for me, I think Oba Femi is in a situation where I could put him as really on a good run. I could also put him as him, because I think that he's top shelf, top tier North American champion. He's doing a great job. But I have to kind of put him in this time for a change category, because I think that he's too good for the mid-card championship. Oba Femi has so little WWE experience, and yet he is so good in the ring, so good on the mic. It doesn't make sense. And I love seeing kind of that trajectory happen where somebody comes in and they just light the place on fire. And so I think that him and Trick Williams could do some really good work together. So for that reason, I'm putting him in the time for a change category, not because I'm over his run or think it should be over, but because I think it's time for him to move up the card. But tell me what you think about that. Is that crazy? I do think that Obafemi is doing some great things for the North American Championship, but I think it's time for him to set his sights on something a little bit bigger. Moving on, let's talk about, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is our Intercontinental Champion over on Monday Night Raw. And I got to say, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you probably know where this is going to go for me. And it's right here. Anyone but them. I am just tired of Sami Zayn. I am tired of him as a character. I'm tired of him as a champion. I think as a chaser, as someone who's trying to get their hands on a championship, Sami Zayn is incredible. He cuts great promos. He does great underdog work. I mean, seeing him beat Gunther at WrestleMania was awesome. I was cheering for him. I was rooting for the guy. I wanted him to win, and then he did, and now I'm done. I'm just sort of over Sami Zayn and want him to move on. I'm really kind of... I wish that Chad Gable had won the Intercontinental Championship at Clash at the Castle, but it just wasn't in the cards. If you didn't see Clash and you want to check out what happened, get some results, you can click this video right here. I'll tell you all about it. But I'm just sort of over Sami Zayn in general, and I'm ready for him to drop that belt and move on to something else. I don't know what that something else is, because I can't imagine him being a world champion, but maybe being in the Money in the Bank match or something like that, just to give him something to do for a little while. So that, I don't know, we can get less over him, if you're with me. Like I said, I'm over Sammy. I think he's great in the ring. I think he's a great character, but I'm just over this championship run. I don't love it. All right, moving on. Let's talk about women's champions. We'll start with NXT's Roxanne Perez. And Roxanne is on a great run right now. I struggled with this to put her either on a good run or still cooking or even time for a change, because for a while I was thinking that Roxanne is ready to move on from NXT. She was ready to move to Raw or SmackDown, and someone challenged that thought in a comment on one of my previous videos. And after kind of listening to their thoughts on it, I tend to agree. Roxanne's not quite ready for the main roster yet. She's still trying to dial in that character, and she's doing a great job of dialing in this heel, just sort of slippery, kind of slimy heel that she is. And I think it's great and I love it. But right now she's in the sweet spot in NXT where she's doing a lot to elevate the brand, while the brand is also doing a lot to elevate her and her character. And so I think she's on a good run. I'm not ready to see it end. I'm so glad that they didn't do some crazy thing where they give the title to Jordynne Grace at Battleground. They allowed Roxanne to get the win and keep it. That was the right call. That was the right move. She's on a good run. I'm curious to see where they go from here, what her next big challenge is. I do think that it's probably going to be Julia down the road that takes the title off of her. But for now, I think Roxanne's on a good run, and I'm really enjoying the work that she is doing. All right, on SmackDown, we've got our WWE champion, Bayley. And for me, as far as Bayley goes, I think it's time for a change. I'm a little bit over Bayley. Not quite as bad as Sammy, but in the same vein. As a face, Bayley is definitely a better chaser than she is a champion. As a heel, I liked Bayley's heel work. I liked her in Damage Control. I liked her as the leader of Damage Control. That whole thing was fun. I enjoyed it. I think Bayley is way better heel than she is a face. And as a face, a better chaser than a champion. I'm glad she got it off of EO. As much as I wish they were utilizing EO Sky better and that EO Sky was still on an incredible championship run, I just don't see it for Bayley. It's not clicking for me with her as a face. And maybe I'm wrong. Tell me what you think. Maybe you love Bayley. I know there are a lot of people that do love Bayley and that love Bayley as the champion. It's just not clicking for me, and I think it's time for a change. I think that change is coming at SummerSlam. I do think that Nia Jax is going to win the WWE Women's Championship, and then she is just going to go on a tear. And I'm curious to see what they do with Bayley after that, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up, we have over on Monday Night Raw, we've got Liv Morgan. And I think Liv is on a really, really solid run that's still sort of in wait and see when it really picks up sort of mode. I don't think she's quite ready to jump up to that him category of just being over the top awesome, but it's possible. It's possible. Right now, I'm very interested in the Dominic story. I'm very interested in her and Rhea Ripley and how that's all going to go down when Rhea comes back. But for now, I'm putting her as she's on a very good run, and I'm enjoying it, and that's kind of it. That's all I have to say about it at the moment. All right, let's talk about our men's World Heavyweight Championship on Monday Night Raw, Damian Priest. I thought the Priest cashing in at WrestleMania was a cool moment, especially because of Drew McIntyre's story with him only ever winning the championship in front of an empty arena and then literally having it for 5 minutes in front of fans. Damian Priest got over in a big way because of that. But the truth is, it didn't matter who had the money in the bank. If that was the story, it was going to be of interest. And that is why Damian Priest's title run started so hot. But for me, it's definitely cooled off. And I don't think that WWE's done him any favors. I don't think they've booked him super well. I think if Rhea Ripley were still there and they were both champions, this might be a totally different conversation and a different outcome. However, without Rhea, I just don't think Damian is really must see or can't miss. I think that most of his title run has been pretty bland, and so for that reason, I'm putting in the time for a change as well. Again, I'm not like comparing him to Sammy necessarily. I'm not so over it that I want him to lose the championship tonight. I want him to lose it as part of a good story, and I think that good story is Gunther at SummerSlam. But at the same time, it's just kind of this bland title run that's just not doing it for me. And so sorry, Damian. It's just not, just ain't it. Maybe they can repackage him. Maybe when he turns face, I'll have a different opinion. But for now, it's time for a change. Ready to move on from Damian Priest. I would love for it to have been Drew, but at the same time, I don't think the Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud needs a championship. I think Gunther is primed to get that win at SummerSlam and go on a run with the World Heavyweight Championship. All right. Up next, let's talk about our boy over on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes. The WWE Undisputed Champion took that obviously off of Roman Reigns after his 3-year title run. And for me, for that reason, I'm going to put Cody as still cooking. To be honest with you, Cody Rhodes' championship, I'm not like bored of it. I don't hate it. I'm not like every time Cody comes on screen, I'm not upset by the fact that he's still holding that championship. But at the same time, I don't love it. Cody, just like most of these face guys, are way better when they're chasing a championship than when they actually have it. The only reason that I think that Cody should still carry this belt for a little bit longer is because I don't want Roman's title reign to be cheapened by Cody ending up being a transitional champion. I would like to see Cody establish a pretty good lengthy run, not necessarily a year. I don't want him to hold it all the way to WrestleMania, but at least through SummerSlam, let him get some big matches, some big wins under his belt before we start talking about him losing it. I could see him losing it down the road, maybe Survivor Series, something like that, even the Royal Rumble. But for now, let him hold on to it a little longer. Roman Reigns' title run was so iconic and so strong that I would hate for it to be cheapened by a short run from Cody. But tell me what you think. Do you love Cody Rhodes as the champion? If so, tell me why. Because for me right now, I think he's doing great work. And I'm definitely interested in what's going to happen with the Bloodline story since their paths finally crossed at Clash at the Castle. But for now, Cody Rhodes is just kind of meh for me. It's fine, but it's not super compelling. Our last champion, NXT's men's champion, and that is Trick Williams. And honestly, I think Trick is him. And, some people are going to disagree. Some people are going to think I'm crazy, and that's fine. But I think that Trick Williams is one of the most over guys in all of WWE. I think that his promo skills are incredible. He's doing great work in the ring. His match with Ethan Page was awesome. I tune into NXT every week because I want to see Trick Williams, and then I want to see some of the other stories that are being told, like Chase U, like Gallus, and things like that. But Trick Williams at the top of the list. The man's doing incredible work. He's doing great things, and he is, I think, currently the most interesting champion in all of WWE. And that might be a hot take, maybe it is, but for me, it's Trick. It's it's the whoop that era across all three brands, not just in NXT. And you know what? Sorry, Mello, but Trick is him, and you were the sidekick. Anyway, that is where I land with our current champions. Tell me what you think. How would you rank them? For me, though, what this looks like, as I'm just kind of glancing over the whole landscape, is it's pretty even. The split's pretty even. I mean, we've got SmackDown up here. We've got NXT. NXT looks pretty good. Of course, you've got some Raw champions up at the top as well with Liv Morgan. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I really, really am enjoying NXT. I'm enjoying the weekly shows. I'm enjoying who their champions are. I'm enjoying how they're being packaged and presented. Even Kalani Jordan, I put her down there at the bottom in her own category because she doesn't have much history to go on yet, but I have high hopes for Kalani Jordan. Here's the situation. Honestly, if you're not watching NXT, I think you should be. I really enjoy it each and every week. It seems like it's just consistently really solid wrestling content, and I really enjoy it. I like the way that they package and present their champions. I like the way that they write new stories constantly. They're always trying different things and just seeing what works. And I think the fast pace of that is exciting to me. So if you're not familiar with the product and you want to catch up, just click this link right here. I've got a playlist of all my NXT recaps and reviews. You can just catch up on what's going on and then dive right in if you want to. Well, hey, that is it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out here on the Rumble Rewind channel. Before you go, would you do me a quick favor? Scroll down below this video, hit that like button. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel. We are working really hard to grow this channel. We are pushing for our first 200 subscribers, and we're getting closer and closer every day. Once we get there, we're going to be giving away a CM Punk t-shirt and hat to one lucky subscriber, so make sure you are on that list. And if you want to stay up to date with all the latest information, go ahead and turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload. Well, hey, thanks again for hanging out for a bit here on Rumble Rewind today. We'll see you on the next one.